As we talk about child development, one thing that was brought up that I would want to reinforce is we're talking about normal child development. If you have a child that has specific needs, find someone that has a specialty in that area and help them. So as we talk about different areas of development, which are the cognitive and language, the social and emotional, the physical, we're talking about normal behavior and how to help a child. If your child has a special need in any of those areas, please seek help for them. The one thing that's really interesting, though, is that as you watch a child develop in certain areas, you might go, oh, there might be something else wrong, such as when our daughter was learning to jump rope, we kept trying and trying to show her, okay, jump now, jump now, jump now. She just couldn't do it, couldn't do it. All of a sudden, we decided, can she not see the rope? Well, maybe we should have taken that note we got from the school and taking it to get her eyes checked, which we decided maybe we should do. And so that physical development and that reasoning skill actually had some physical needs that she needed to take care of. So as you work with your children, if they're not up to par with the ages and stages, you might look and see, oh, I wonder what's happening and what we can do to help. So we are going to talk about specifically each areas of development, and we're going to use the learning triangle. We've used that in some of the workshops that we've had previously and some that we'll have after, where we actually will take a show and we'll view a certain concept, and then we'll review that concept with a book, not the same book, but something that's similar, and then we're going to do an activity. Remember that doing is the most important learning part, okay? It's not the watching or the reading the book. It's when you do something is when you really learn. And so we're going to do that in each area of development and talk about how you can help your child in that specific area. And we're going to start with cognitive or reasoning skills. What shows deal with reasoning skills? Most of the PBS shows are going to have some kind of theme that wants a child to learn. Now, one of my favorite shows is Sesame Street. My children grew up with it. I grew up with it. We're going to watch a classic video of Cookie Monster looking for some differences.
Okay, here, I help. One of these things is not like the other things. One of these things just doesn't belong. Can you guess which thing is not like the other thing? Before I finish my song. Now look closely. Look. Now something here, one of these things does not belong. Now I'll give you a hint. It has to do with how many cookies are on each plate. Okay? You ready? No? Okay, keep looking. I look too. This is hard even for a monster. Keep looking. Oh, did you guess? Oh, yeah? Did you guess which thing is not like the other things? Did you guess with all your might? If you guessed that this thing is not like the other things, you know what? You know what? You're right. Oh, you're absolutely right. You're so smart.
Isn't that cute? Oh, I love Cookie Monster. I have to tell you about that clip is years ago when my daughter first saw it and I was trying to point out the differences, which plate has most, which has different. We got done with that and she looked at me and she said, why is Cookie Monster's eyes on top of his head? I said, so he can find cookies really quick. And then I said, so which plate was different? And she said, and this is when she was trying to figure out real and pretend, is there anything real that has eyes on top of his head? I'm like, did you look at the cookies? No, what cookies? She was consumed with the eyes on top of the head. So we took that and I tried to think, what has eyes on top of his head? So you know what? I went to my local librarian, I went to the children's librarian and I said, we're looking for real animals that have eyes on top of his head. Alligator, crocodile. We spent time for the next couple weeks learning about animals that had eyes on top of its head. So the next time we went to the zoo, guess what my daughter did? She found those animals that have eyes on top of its head. One thing that I forget as a parent that I would encourage you to do is sometimes there's so many experiences that children are having, we need to point out what we want them to learn. Okay? So if you wanted them, what I should have done is set that up. And that was a great opportunity for learning. So I took it I don't always do that, but I took that opportunity for my child's development and I helped them in her reasoning skills. The next time we watched it, we particularly talked about cookie monsters like alligators, so we can look for cookies really quick. Now look at the cookies. Now that was a sorting type of reasoning skills. And Sesame Street does a very good job because they give children lots of time to look. Okay, so that's why we have quite a bit of time. Now, the book that I'm picking to review this Ready to Learn learning triangle is Caps for Sale. Now, if any of you have read this book, most of you have probably grown up with it. It's a classic book. Doesn't say one thing about sorting, does it? Doesn't ever say the word sorting, but there is a peddler that wears some caps on top of his head, and he always has them in a certain color. Well, one day it was quite warm. It was a warm summer day, and he wasn't getting many sales. And so this peddler decided to sit by a tree, and instead of sitting, he took a little nap. And as he napped, he slept and slept, and when he woke up, he went on top of his head, and none of his caps were there. And he looked up and he looked around and he couldn't find them. Finally, he looked way up in the tree, and on every branch sat a monkey. And on every monkey was a gray, a brown, or a blue, or red cap. The peddler looked at those monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. You monkeys, you, shaking his finger, you give me back my caps. But the monkeys only shook their fingers at him. So finally he said, he got so mad, he said, you monkeys, you give me their caps. And the monkeys just looked at him and shook their hands like this. The man got so mad that he stamped both of his feet and he said, you monkeys, you give me back my caps. And the monkeys just looked at him and stamped their feet and laughed. Oh, that peddler was so angry. He took the last cap on the top of his head and he threw it down. Well, guess what the monkeys did? They took their caps and they threw it down. Oh, luckily that peddler got those back. And so he took every cap and he got all the gray caps, all the brown caps, all the blue caps, and all the red hats. And he put them in order. Putting them on top of the head, he walked slowly back to town, yelling, caps for sale, only 50 cents. Okay. Not once did we talk about sorting, but we're introducing the concept right here. A great lesson for kids. Now, we have an activity that each of you will be taking home with you. And if you're watching this, you'll be able to go on our website and go to our participation notebook and find this under cognitive development, where we have some monkeys and we have some different caps. Now, one thing when you're starting this sorting is make things very different. Okay, we don't want to have all these different hard caps, but just different colors. We want very, very different things. And then as a child is able to sort them, then maybe you could start doing the colors. So they're sorting those, okay? What are some other activities at home, Liz, that kids could sort for this kind of sorting and putting like things together, that you could have a job maybe at home?
I have my son put away the silverware.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's a reasoning skill. And can you see how we took the learning triangle and was able to view something that they had to think about? Then we read a book that had the same concept, not the same clip. We didn't watch a Cookie Monster clip. And then we did an activity. You can find lots of things, even as you're driving down the road. Can you see a red car? Can you see a truck? Can you see a train? So they can start reasoning. As you look at your activities at home, don't make them difficult, but take what they are seeing at television and incorporate it into their lives.